Good evening, everyone out there in Facebook land. Thank you so much for joining us again for our nightly house concert. We're so delighted to be able to continue sharing our music with you all week long and just for this ongoing period of time. We are Laura Dubin and Antonio Guerrero, as most of you know, but if we have any new folks joining us tonight, I just wanted to introduce ourselves in case you're over here for the first time. And if that is the case, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here over in our little Laura Dubin Jazz Facebook page. If you're listening tonight, please leave a comment and say hello. And we'd love to know where you are, where you're watching this from, because it's really fun for us to know how far our music is traveling. Tonight we'd like to start with a piece that was composed by the legendary saxophone player Benny Golson when he was playing with the group Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. And this is a beautiful composition he wrote called Whisper Not. Whisper not. One, two, three. that was a piece called Whisper Not by the saxophonist Benny Golson. And I just happened to see a comment from Linda pop up while we were playing. Hi, Linda! Thank you so much for watching again. Sometimes I can't really see who's commenting, but I'll see like a little notification pop up. But this time I happened to see that it was you. So thank you so much for tuning in again. Great to see you out there. We would like to play a piece that we recorded on our classical jazz album last year. And it's actually a combination of two pieces, of a classical piece and a Great American Songbook piece. It is a combination of solfeggetto, which was composed by C.P.E. Bach, Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach, who was one of Johann Sebastian Bach's many children. And this piece he wrote called Solfeggetto is a piece that many piano students learn to play when they kind of enter an intermediate level. And it's an interesting piece. It's a monophonic piece, meaning that there's just one single line melody the whole time, played with both hands, alternating between the right and left hand. That's not too common for piano music because since pianists have 10 fingers that they can play with at the same time, your average classical piece has more than just one note happening at a time in any given moment. So that's something interesting about this piece, Solfeggetto. And we've combined it with a classic Great American Songbook tune by George Shearing called Lullaby of Birdland. And the reason that happened was I was playing solfeggetto one day, just kind of trying to swing it just for fun instead of playing it in the straight classical way that it was written. Kind of made it into a bebop-ish kind of swing tune. And I just began improvising on it, and I realized that the chords I was improvising with were actually the chords of Lullaby of Birdland. So then I decided to just throw that song right in there in the mix with it. So we hope you enjoy Solfeggetto and Lullaby of Birdland. Was it too close to me?
You look fine.
Oh, okay.
You look good. Yeah, you look fine.
That was a combination of Solfeggetto by Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach and Lullaby of Birdland by the great pianist George Shearing. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'd like to say a really quick thank you to everybody who's made a contribution to us so far since we began doing these videos last week. It's really just meant the world to us to have your support, and we appreciate it so, so much. If you're just joining us for the first time tonight, just so you know, there's a link to my website right in the video here. And if you're enjoying the music, you can feel free to go over there. And there are 3 different ways you can make a contribution to our music if you would like. The first way is you can actually download all of our albums. We've got 7 albums for you to choose from, and they're all available as a digital download. And on the same page, if you scroll to the bottom, there's also an option to make a suggested donation of any amount that you'd like. There are several amounts that you can choose from, but you can adjust all of them to your liking. And as of just a few days ago, we've got a brand new option. You can actually become a monthly patron of Laura Dubin Jazz. And that's a nice way if you'd like to make a continuing donation just once a month and not have to think about it every month. It will take you to a secure PayPal link where it will basically do an automatic payment on your card every month in much the same way that maybe you already are paying some of your bills. So it's nice and convenient and easy to do. If you have, if you're hesitant at all to enter any of your credit card information online, please know that my website is secure. We can't see any of your information. But if you still have any qualms about it and you would like to make a donation, feel free to send me a private message later on and we can talk about another way that you can do that. And if you're unable to make a financial contribution at this time, that is totally okay. We really appreciate you being here and watching our videos and listening to our music. Your support really means the world to us, no matter what, because we're really grateful to still have an opportunity to share our music with you, even during this time when none of us can really go out anywhere and see each other in person. We're really grateful to still be able to do this. We would like to play a really, really fun composition by Dave Brubeck, and we've played several Dave Brubeck tunes already since we began doing these last week, but that's because he's just got so much great repertoire. And we find his music so much fun to play because, well, not only is it just fun, period, but all of his music is pretty challenging too. But it's so, such a wonderful thing to learn and to finally feel like you understand how to play it after, you know, lots of practice and after playing the music together a lot. And there's always more to discover as, you know, as you get more comfortable playing the music. So I challenge you to try dancing along to this one if you can. This is called Unsquare Dance. That was Unsquare Dance by Dave Brubeck, and I just love that picture of him right here where he's like, hey! I think he's saying to us, hey, you guys got it! If anybody knows the time signature of that piece, you can write it in the comments here, or if you have a guess as to what it might have been, feel free to leave a comment with your guess. Actually, there's a funny story of this piece. It was either on the album Time Out, released in 1959, or suddenly my memory is escaping me. It might have been Time Further Out, which was the sequel to that album, but it was definitely on one of those two albums. And if you listen carefully to the end of the recording, you can hear some laughter toward the end of the piece. And apparently, according to the liner notes of the album, that was the drummer Joe Morello laughing because they made it to the end. So that actually, like, it's really inspirational for us to know that these legendary musicians who are our heroes are like human beings just like the rest of us, and even they can be challenged by their own music that they actually wrote. So it's kind of cool for us to know when that kind of thing happens. Yeah. So this next arrangement is, this is an arrangement that I did a few years ago, and this song is just always such an appropriate song during moments of crisis, during times of uncertainty in the world. And this is John Lennon's classic song called Imagine. And this is a very special song for me because it was actually one of the first pieces that I ever learned on the piano by ear, as far as like non-classical music goes. So I was studying classical piano from a young age and, you know, learning the music in the repertoire books that I was studying. But this is one of the first pieces that I kind of just on my own decided to figure out how to play. And from there, you know, things really took off as far as my musical learning experience growing up. So I've always loved playing this piece, but actually this arrangement is combined with a very famous piece by Johann Sebastian Bach. So we played Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach, and now we're playing some music by his father, J.S. Bach. And this is probably one of Bach's most famous compositions. This is Prelude No. 1 in C major from his collection of keyboard music called the Well-Tempered Clavier, which is a collection of preludes and fugues in all 12 major keys and all 12 minor keys. And this is a cross between Bach's Prelude No. 1 in C major and John Lennon's Imagine. We hope you like this. That was our version of John Lennon's Imagine, combined with Johann Sebastian Bach's Prelude No. 1 in C major. And I'd like to dedicate that to everybody out there right now who is helping to make our community a safer place. This goes out to all the doctors, hospital workers, anybody in the healthcare field, anybody who is still working a job, even though so many others are being sent home, but so many jobs are really being deemed necessary to keep our society going right now. And we really appreciate all of you who are still doing those jobs. Thank you so, so much from the bottom of our hearts. We've got a couple more tunes, and like we've been doing the last few nights, we'd love to stick around and chat with you for a little while after we finish playing. So even after the music ends, we're not going to just say goodbye immediately. If you're just tuning in, feel free to leave a comment and say hello and let us know where you're listening from, because we'd love to know how far our music is traveling. We would like to play a composition by a wonderful bass player named Christian McBride. He's actually one of the most prominent bass players on the scene right now, and has been for many decades. And this is a piece that he dedicated to a pianist named Cedar Walton, one of my piano heroes, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. But I was fortunate enough to see him perform 3 times in the years before he passed away. I saw him, I think, twice at the Rochester Jazz Festival, and then once in Kalamazoo when I lived there. He performed at the Gilmore Keyboard Festival in Kalamazoo, Michigan, which is a wonderful festival. Anyway, this is Christian McBride's composition dedicated to Cedar Walton, and it's called The Shade of the Cedar Tree. And you can hear this composition on Christian McBride's album called Gettin' to It. Yeah. Such a fun title. That was The Shade of the Cedar Tree. It's a great tongue twister. The Shade of the Cedar Tree, composed by Christian McBride, who you see up on the wall there.
Yeah.
And that's dedicated to the pianist Cedar Walton, who is right here and here in the picture that I just skipped over. Thank you so much for joining us. So as an introduction to our last piece we're going to play, I thought, for those of you who don't know this, I know all of our close friends know this already, but for those of you who don't know, I would love to tell the story of how Antonio and I met, because it pertains to this next composition. So we met in 2011 in Barcelona, and that's the name of this next tune we're going to play. It's an original composition called Barcelona, and I partly wrote it because that was the first city in another country where I traveled all alone, and it was just like the greatest experience ever, and also because that's where Antonio and I met. So it's a city that is very close to our hearts. We were both playing together on a cruise ship in 2011. That was how we met each other. So we literally have been playing music together since the day that we met. I don't know a lot of musicians who can actually say that. And I don't know if Dennis Shebekov happens to be watching, but I'd like to say hello to him. A special shout out. Dennis was the bass player and singer and band leader of this trio, and we can thank him for bringing us together because, thank you so much, Dennis. Yeah. Dennis knew each of us individually, but Antonio and I had never met before. Dennis is a friend of mine from college. We both went to Western Michigan University. And when I was doing my undergraduate degree, he was doing his master's degree. And so when he finished his master's, it was the end of my sophomore year of college. And at that point, he got a job working in a jazz band on this cruise ship. It was Holland America Cruise Lines. And at some point, he was doing several contracts with different bands. And at some point, he and Antonio were put together in the same band. And so fast forward a couple years, Dennis had another contract coming up that was to begin in August 2011, which was just a couple months after I graduated from college. And he already knew Antonio from another contract, and he had invited Antonio to play with him. And then when he found out that I was graduating, and he was visiting Kalamazoo one day, he asked me if I wanted to come play in the band with them. And he said the cruise was going to be in the Mediterranean, so the home port was going to be Barcelona, and the ship was going to all these other cities in Spain and Italy and Greece, and I think we went to Monaco, we went to Morocco, basically all these amazing places. So how could I possibly have turned that down? And playing music every night and getting paid for it. Basically doing what you love all the time.
Yeah, some places in Greece. You mentioned Greece, right?
Yeah, Greece was one of the first places that we went. Exactly. So of course I was thrilled about that, and I said, "Oh, who's going to be playing drums?" And he said, "Oh, this drummer named Antonio." So I thought, okay, cool. So the rest is history. We all flew to Barcelona for the start of our contract. It was the end of August 2011, and we literally just met each other. Let's see, everybody arrived, I think, the day before the ship was going to embark, before the start of our contract. So I spent one night in Barcelona just by myself, and then the next day a shuttle bus came to pick up all the cruise ship employees from the hotel, and that was when we met each other. And it was just so special, of course. And it's funny, I have a lot of pictures of Barcelona, but
I have some of them.
Yeah, we're gonna have to play this tune again with some more photos.
I will bring more.
Yeah, so I was looking through all my photos last night from the contract, and honestly, I took like thousands of photos, and I found a bunch of pictures of Barcelona, but it was mostly pictures of the scenery and not a lot of pictures of us there, which is kind of funny. But I think Antonio's got more, so we'll have to bring those up again.
That common like selfies, like now everybody's really selfies.
Oh, that's right. That's why. So
I mean, it was, but no, like now.
This was like the dark ages, 2011, where only a few people had these. I still had a flip phone.
Yeah.
I think I still had a flip phone that had like a little antenna on it in 2011.
I took pictures with my regular camera.
Yeah.
It was a digital camera, but it was a regular camera, no cellular phone.
Exactly.
Camera.
Yeah, and I did the same thing too. So we both brought our cameras. Yeah.
Not
Not film. Yeah. So to take a selfie, we had to like this is a metronome, but let's pretend it was a camera. You had to actually go like that and not be looking at yourself and not really know if it was going to be a good picture or not. So I guess maybe that's why we don't have a lot of pictures of that time.
But I still have. I have several.
Well, Antonio's going to look for some later on, and then we'll present them to you here later this week. But for now, we hope you enjoy this composition called Barcelona, and you can hear it on our very first album, introducing the Laura Dubin Trio. And you can also hear it on our Live at the Rochester International Jazz Festival album, which we released in 2016. So there's 2 different recordings of this piece, but we hope you like our live version right now.
But you had that one in Park Well and all of that.
Oh yeah, there's some on here.
Yeah, I remember that. That is where we dancing for first time.
Exactly. Should I tell that story?
Yeah.
So there's you'll see some photos here in a minute. Actually, I think this first one was taken there. There's a beautiful park in Barcelona called Park Güell, and I guess you could call it like the Central Park of Barcelona for comparison. It's even larger though. Yeah. Exactly. The whole park was designed by the artist Antonio Gaudí, another Antonio. And the design is just so cool and interesting. And the park is just full of his artwork and sculptures. And this first photo here is actually, I think this was taken in that park. So it's way up on top of a big hill, and there's a big view of the whole city from there. But the story that Antonio just mentioned was that we danced together for the first time in that park. You could say that's where we were courting, I guess. There was a band of musicians playing just like in the street in this park, and suddenly you said, "Come on, let's dance." Somebody must have taken a photo of that, so we got to look for that. So we hope you enjoy Barcelona. was an original composition of mine called Barcelona. And that concludes our program for this evening, but we are going to stick around and chat with you for a minute or two. Feel free to leave a comment and say hello if you haven't done so already. Please let us know where you're listening from, because we love to know how far our music is traveling. And real quick, once again, I would just like to say thank you so much to everybody who's made a financial contribution to us this past week, or downloaded our albums. We so appreciate your support, especially during this time. Feel free to head on over to lauradubin.com, and there's a link right in the video here. You can either make a donation of any amount that you choose. You can become a monthly patron of Laura Dubin Jazz with an automatic credit card payment once a month, or you can download all of our music there, all on one convenient page.
And watch our videos. All these videos will be, some way.
Yeah, they're all on the video page. So the link in this video it's not the homepage of my website. It's a link that takes you right to the music/store page of the website. But you'll see a whole bunch of other tabs there where you can check out videos and recordings and all sorts of other things.
Especially for people that is not in Facebook for some reason, they can see there.
That's true. Yeah, if anybody knows, if any of you know anyone who would like to watch our videos but they are not on Facebook, you can still watch these videos even if you don't have a Facebook account. You just probably aren't able to leave a comment or like them, but you can still see them. But I know some people might just not want to use Facebook at all, and so you can feel free to send them over to my website. And we're also posting all these videos on YouTube after we finish our live performances. So there's 3 places you can see these. We're everywhere. So we would so appreciate your support if you're able to make a contribution. If you're not, that is okay. We still really appreciate you being here and listening to our music tonight and every night. And we'll be back here around the same time tomorrow night and every night for the rest of time doing these videos again. So I'm just going to pop on over to my phone here and see if anything popped up. Looks like a lot of people were watching tonight.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oops, that's the wrong, let's see. This video is in 2 places, so you can, you can see it on my music page, which is Laura Dubin Jazz, or on my personal Facebook page. And if you're watching this on my personal Facebook page, feel free to go over to my music page and like it, because then you will be notified anytime we post these videos or post other things. Ooh, there's 8 comments on here. Awesome. Yay. Let's see. And I'm looking at myself talking right now. This is so funny. Let's see. Your mom's watching. Hey, Mom. Hola, Ma. Thank you so much for watching again. Ooh. Haha. So, Brian Waldron, if you are watching, we will play that song tomorrow, Jitterbug.
Oh, yes.
Jitterbug Waltz. You know, I was thinking of doing that one for you at one point during these coming days. So perfect. I'm so glad to see you're watching. Thank you so much, Brian. I hope you're staying safe and healthy. Linda, thank you so much, Linda. Yeah, Benny Golson is a wonderful composer. So he also wrote Along Came Betty. It's a beautiful tune. Stablemates. Those are just 2 tunes that come to mind. But he composed a lot of music when he was playing with Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. But of course, he's continued to write his own music, during his entire solo career, all these decades. So I love his compositions. I think they're just so slick. Like the way he combines the melody and the perfect chords for every moment.
Beautiful balance of melody and an interesting form.
Yes.
It's not like just 32 bars or 4 bars, or it's something interesting.
Exactly.
Stablemates.
So, oh my gosh, that one requires a lot of counting.
Along Came Betty has always some kind of interlude that make it even more interesting.
Yeah, it kind of makes it more like an orchestral kind of composition. It's got different sections, or maybe a small big band kind of arrangement with more than just the melody. So it'll have the melody and the interlude, like you just mentioned. Yeah. For any of you non-jazz musicians out there, what Antonio means when he says 32 bars, most jazz standards, I would say maybe 90% of jazz standards or music from the Great American Songbook, is 32 measures long. So it's usually either A, B, first half, second half, 16 measures, followed by another 16 measures, or sometimes it's A, B, A. So a group of 8, another group of 8 that maybe is similar, a bridge or middle section, which is another 8 measures, and then kind of a recap, another 8 measures after that. So that's my...
No Benny Golson.
Yeah, not all of Benny Golson's compositions are like that. So. I'm not sure if Matthew Freeze or Philip Palumbi or Keith Hall might be watching this right now, but I have a funny story about the song Stablemates. That's another Benny Golson tune, and that's one of the ones you just mentioned that has a very asymmetrical form. It's not 32 measures. It's got a whole bunch of different things going on.
It's very easy to get lost.
Yeah, very easy to get lost.
The solo part. Yeah. You need to always remember the melody. Just have the melody always in your mind.
Yeah.
Because counting is 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. It's really tedious to count the whole time. It's better just to kind of internalize the melody.
Singing
but
the
yeah.
melody always inside.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think I mentioned that a couple nights ago in another piece that we were playing. It was when we did You Must Believe in Spring a few nights ago. I mentioned that my teachers in college, Steve Zagri and Fred Hirsch, they both, one of their main things that they teach, or something that they both really emphasize frequently, is that when you're learning a jazz standard, even if you're an instrumentalist, you should really learn the lyrics, because that just really helps you like know the song better.
Even for drummers, or especially for drummers.
Yeah.
We need to know the melody. It's not just swing, I swing, okay.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I can say that you're one of a handful of drummers who really does that, and it's one reason I love playing with you.
I feel more in the music.
I know that Keith Hall would be proud of you for saying that, because that's another one of his big things. So if Keith is watching, hi Keith. Over in Kalamazoo. Yeah, I agree. Let's see who else is here. Bobby Noble. Hey, Bobby. Oh, actually, it's Bobby Noble Smith now. How awesome. I think it's really cool that you both changed your name. So Bobby is a good friend of mine from college who was a singer in Gold Company. And he just got married recently to beautiful Crystal. And I saw on Facebook that they both, it looks like instead of her just taking his last name, which is kind of traditional, it looks like they both combined their two last names, which I think is really cool. And like a really cool testament to what can be done in the year 2020. I love that. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Dave Boyer, hey. Oh, he loves the romantic story of how we met. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if you knew that story, but I never get tired of telling that story. So, I mean, any excuse we have to tell. And you know what? I just realized while we were playing why we don't have a lot of pictures together here. It's because on our first contract on the ship, we were just friends. So we didn't take a whole lot of selfies together back then, but...
We were just friends for one contract.
Yeah.
4 months.
Yep, about 4 months, yeah.
It's not that easy.
So I highly recommend becoming friends with your future partner first, because everything is totally different. I mean, by the time we began our official relationship, we already knew each other so well, and it was just really, really special. So during that first contract, when we spent a lot of time at Barcelona, we were actually just friends at that point.
We hung out a lot.
We did, yeah.
We did that and some excursions.
Yeah, we did. I guess we just weren't like taking a lot of pictures together yet. There were zillions more to come, months down the road, several months down the road. Cecile, hey Cecile, yay! So Cecile is like one of my best friends in the universe, and sometime soon, maybe next week or whenever it's convenient for all of us, we're going to have our dear friend Cecile Elliott joining us in one of these videos. So for those of you who saw our collaboration with Dave Boyer the other night, where he called us on FaceTime and he was up here joining us, our friend Cecile is going to do the same thing, and she's an extremely talented singer, multi-instrumentalist, and visual artist. So she literally does everything. So
thank you, Cecile.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for watching and being part of this. Thank you.
Yay! Can't wait to do this with you. My dad. Hey, Dad. Thanks for watching again.
Thank you, Jan.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know this. Okay, so Dad says Benny Golson is part of the plot of that Tom Hanks movie where he's stuck in the airport. Which movie was that? Why haven't we seen that? That sounds like it would be my favorite movie. Thank you for letting us know about that, because we need to watch that. When we're watching some movies this time during our quarantine, we'll have to look for that one.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you.
Aw, and now Linda and Dad are talking to each other on Facebook. I love it. She says, "Hi, Jan. I miss seeing you at band." He says, "Likewise, Linda." I hope you guys aren't rehearsing now, because I'm sure that you're not. Yeah, nothing's going on. Nobody can be anywhere. Cecile says, yes, I agree. Or yes, Antonio, I agree. Yay! Hey, Jack, thanks so much for tuning in again.
Jack.
Says,
Hello,
sounding
Jack.
great. Keep it going on your nightclub of Facebook. Exactly. This is our Facebook jazz club.
I've been working in the mic, the suggestion about some mic for me.
Oh, yeah. We saw your comment about that last night.
I am running out of channels, but
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for the suggestion. Yeah. Ooh, jinx.
Yeah, hopefully
Knock on
he
wood.
can listen what I'm saying.
Yeah. So we've got, it's probably hard to see because, you know, this camera only shows so many angles, but we've got like a whole bunch of cables and equipment going on in this little room. So
the just to get in the shots.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jack.
we might be able to incorporate that soon. Yeah,
Hopefully
we
this
so
mic
appreciate
is
it.
some of my voice.
There you go. Hi to you and Bonnie. Thank you so much for
hello,
joining
Bonnie.
here. Cecile, we love you too. Thank you so much. Yay! So I got everybody on here. I'm just going to check real quick and see if I missed anybody. Oh, this is so funny. I just waved and then like 5 seconds later I saw myself waving. Let's see. I'm just going to check my other Facebook page because there might be something there too. Aw, Dave posted the picture of the moon that he drew the other night when he was drawing with us. I love that moon. It's so happy looking.
He worked so fast.
Yeah.
He's doing this stroke so
We can't believe how fast you do that.
Great,
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I think that was everything. I think that was everybody. Well, thank you so much once again for joining us. And we will be back here at the same time tomorrow night. So stay tuned. Have a great night. Bye.